Last week, UT celebrated their 100th homecoming against Tennessee Tech with a big win, 55-0. Additionally, our university brought on a new tradition, shining light to two very special top volunteers with our Rocky Top royalty. Today, one of those top vols are here to share with us what it was like to be crowned the very first Rocky Top royalty, sophomore agriculture and communications major Dalton Teel. Thanks for coming on the show.
No problem. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so we are very interested to know what it was like, what the process was like. Obviously, we can see things on social media throughout the week, throughout the weeks of campaigns and such. But like from the get-go, what made you want to run for Rocky Top Royalty?
So I guess I saw that Rocky Top Royalty was an option, and I talked to my friends, and we went to the interest meeting, and it seemed like it would be a good thing to go for. And so in order to even be considered, you had to be first sponsored by a club or organization.
Sure.
So I was sponsored by actually my college, the College of Agriculture. And then from there, you had to fill out an application kind of highlighting why you wanted to be on the homecoming court.
Of course.
And then they chose the top 10 after interviews with alumni, faculty, and staff. And those top 10 are the ones that were Rocky Top royalty. And then based on those top 10, the students were allowed to vote for 2 people, and then that's who was named top volunteers.
Great. And so you mentioned you were backed up by the entire College of Agriculture. How did that feel? That's got to be an honor.
That was pretty cool. Ag is my thing, and so getting to be backed by them and also be an advocate for my entire college.
Sure.
At that level of a platform was pretty awesome.
That's awesome. So I guess all the walking across that bridge to get over there
Paid
and
off.
all that
It paid
off. That's great. So being Rocky Top royalty now, that top vol, what was your favorite part of homecoming?
Honestly, my favorite part of homecoming was like getting to meet so many people. So there was
Sure.
a lot of different moments where the Rocky Top Royalty Homecoming Court went to homecoming events, and at those events we got to meet volunteers, and that's kind of my favorite thing to do. So I actually loved that.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit like of a description as to what this means for those who probably don't know what Rocky Top royalty is and kind of what that was like.
Yeah, so when we chose to kind of go for homecoming court, each of us had to highlight a philanthropy or a community involvement event that we wanted to kind of spearhead. And so all of the homecoming court is required to do their philanthropy to some capacity.
Sure.
But the top volunteers are going to be required to not only be advocates for the university, but also to take that philanthropy and continue it for a year span.
Yeah.
Up until the next top volunteer.
Now is UT sponsoring this with you as a part of
we have to meet this next week to kind of discuss the details of what it's going to look like. So I know the task that I've been given. I don't know the details of it yet. So
Great.
see.
Yeah, so when should you find out these details, do you know?
So I think we're going to meet next week. The homecoming committee has kind of taken a break, debriefing from the wild week that they had last week, and I guess we'll all get back together and kind of convene from there.
Sure. So do you remember back in high school, it was normally just a homecoming queen, and this year is kings, 2 of you guys.
Correct.
So what was that like? So, I guess, you know, we had homecoming queen in high school and the escort, and you know he was crowned with her. This year it was like just whoever it was is that top vol.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
I thought that was an interesting approach to take. It was a little challenging to be one of 2 guys on the homecoming court. I thought for sure that a girl maybe won at least 2. I thought 2 would be elected to the top volunteer. So it was interesting the way that the University of Tennessee chose to do that. But of course, I think that in the end, the student body chose the people that they wanted to represent them as top volunteer, and it just so happened that it was 2 guys. I think if it had been 2 women or a guy and a girl, either way, it would have been good. So
Great.
in the end, they're the top volunteers.
Yeah, what was it like working with those 9 other candidates? Was it anything like a normal campaign, whether that's SGA, whether, you know what I'm saying? And when I think of Rocky Top royalty, I'm thinking everybody's just in it for the fun of it, and everybody's lighthearted. I knew Kaylin and Savannah, and everybody just seemed so subtle and like, you know?
I think everyone was having a lot of fun with it. One of my favorite parts was getting to know the other members of the homecoming court, because in the end, it wasn't about the competition. It was just about the opportunity to represent.
Because you guys were already in the
UT.
top 10, and that's kind of says it all right there to be in the royalty. What'd you do for your campaign? So I've seen a lot of videos of parodies and like, welcome to my cribs, and like, you know.
So I didn't take a wild lip sync video route. I just found people in the library that were my friends, people that I considered, you know, that would be comfortable advocating for me, and just made a quick little video showing that these people like me, and you know, I love them, and let's have a good time and let's vote for Dalton. That was about it. It was really simple, because one of our rules was that we couldn't spend any money on campaigning. And so we had to use creative ways to use social media. And so that's why I chose a simple approach and just, I don't know, I didn't want to change anything and be over dramatic. I just wanted to be genuine.
Perfect. So on a neutral level, moving on, we know, I mean, the University of Tennessee knows that homecoming has definitely turned into it's very Greek affiliated, hands down. I mean, you have a lot of homecoming events with the parade and the shows and the Smokies Howl, and that's a lot of Greek events. How do you see, being on Rocky Top Royalty, the homecoming committee now, or not committee, but being a part of that entire celebration, how do you see us, encouraging everybody to get involved, and how could you see that happen?
Yeah, I know that this year that was a huge effort that they were trying to make was to have events where anyone could come.
Yeah.
And so one of the events, for example, was the barn warming that we had on a Sunday afternoon. And to be quite honest, the showing was pitiful. And so I wondered in that moment, when we have organizations committing to a competition or to an event, is it better that way because those people kind of have a commitment to that organization and then therefore they're going to be there? Because when we opened it up to everyone, the showing wasn't there. And so I think that's a constant challenge that we're facing at colleges everywhere, is to find a way to include everyone and not be exclusive.
Yeah, definitely. So where do you think you can find all of this information to even go about celebrating homecoming? Because if you look around campus, it's there, it's on social media, but that all depends on who you're following and where you're walking. What could you see for next year, for example, to get everybody involved? And as you said, the turnout was pitiful. So how do you even think could be a good solution for that?
I know that this year there was ACE, which is all campus events, and then also the homecoming committee. And they were both putting on events all geared towards homecoming, but they were two separate organizations.
Yep.
And so I know just for myself, in order to keep up with every event that was happening, I had to maintain 2 social media pages based on that. And so I feel like a consolidation would probably be a good effort to start with in order to make everything more accessible, but also where people can actually find out about it quicker and easier.
So and the homecoming committee, you'd think, would be that. Just like if you're looking for a UT event in general, you might look at SGA. So when they are planning these things, I think there were even Stomp Fest that a lot of probably Greek life who are working on their floats and pumping, they're not going to know about the Stomp Fest that a lot of other Greek life put on,
Which was a great time, by the way.
Exactly. So, and once you know about all these events, do you see maybe next year there being a way to say, here's 5 days, here's how we're going to make everything work, here's how we're going to get all the organizations involved? Because personally, when I look at Smokies Howl, I'm thinking, it shouldn't just be fraternity life. I'm thinking you should include maybe an SGA committee. Or maybe VolTalk can have a team.
I think any time that we finish up an event on campus and we sit back and we're content with it, that's when our campus is going to stop moving forward. And so we have to look at homecoming and let's be proud of what we did that was successful, the new traditions that we started, but also let's look forward and see what we can do better next year. So for sure we can make improvements. And I think that that's the volunteer spirit, is to constantly be improving and to make things better. And so I think that will happen.
That's awesome. So this was last week, and then obviously we're moving on. We have a month left in school, actually 3 weeks even. How would you sum up this semester, including with your Rocky Top Royalty, in one word?
In one word.
It's one of my favorite questions to ask people. Give me one word for this entire semester and include that Rocky Top Royalty experience.
I think thankful. That's a very simple word, but at this time last year I wasn't, I was still a first-year student questioning whether or not I had made the right decision about coming to the University of Tennessee. And so a year later, to know that this is home and that other people are proud to have me representing them, I'm just extremely thankful.
That's awesome, and we're thankful for that you came on to VolTalk to tell us a little bit about it. I'm glad. Thank you so much, Dalton. Well, that's all we have for today's interview. Tune in next week as our semester wraps up, and our entire staff will be here and celebrating such a good time before we head off to Thanksgiving break. Until next time, follow VolTalk on social media @VolTalk and subscribe below to our channel. Go Vols!